Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the world's most famous quality management systems. But we're not just looking at the process, we're focusing on its most critical component, the people. We're going to break down the specialized roles, that human engine that power the whole quest for near perfection in business.
So, let's kick things off with a really big question. How do massive companies, the huge ones, actually solve their biggest problems? When you want every single product, every single service to be top-notch every single time, where do you even start?
Well, the answer isn't just try harder. It's about engineering a solution. They build a powerful system, and this is the crucial part, they build a specialized team of in-house experts who are trained to run that system. This is not a side gig. It's a dedicated infrastructure of people.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the big goal, that quest for perfection. Then we'll get into the Six Sigma framework itself. After that, we'll dive into the hierarchy of experts, put black belts and green belts head to head, and finally, we'll look at why this whole system actually works so well.
All right, first up, the quest for near perfection. Before we can talk about the individual roles, we got to understand the bigger picture they fit into. And that's the world of quality management systems.
You can think of a QMS as the strategic answer to chaos. It's basically the official playbook. It lays out all the processes, the methods, and the roles to make sure a company hits its quality targets. It gets everyone, from the top floor to the shop floor, on the exact same page.
Okay, next up, let's introduce the Six Sigma framework. Now we're narrowing our focus from the general idea of a QMS to a very specific, very famous one. And this is where that idea of a specialized team really comes to life.
So Six Sigma, which was pioneered at companies like Motorola, isn't just some fuzzy philosophy. It is a super disciplined, data-driven approach. The entire goal is to use hard numbers and statistics to find and wipe out the root causes of any mistakes or defects in a process.
And when we say close to perfect, the ambition here is just staggering. The name Six Sigma is actually a statistical target. It means you're aiming for a process that produces less than 3.4 defects for every 1 million chances. That's a process that is 99.99966% perfect. Just think about that.
And here's the kicker. You don't just stumble into that level of quality. It's not an accident. You get there by building what Six Sigma calls a special infrastructure of people. You have to have a dedicated in-house team of experts who've mastered these really sophisticated techniques.
Okay, and that brings us to the heart of it all. The people. Six Sigma cleverly uses a martial arts-inspired belt system, and this creates a really clear hierarchy of expertise, which is just brilliant.
This pyramid shows that structure perfectly. Each level has a very specific job to do when it comes to driving quality improvements. So let's walk through this whole thing, starting from the top.
Right at the top, you've got your champions and sponsors. These are the senior leaders, the execs. Their job isn't to get bogged down in the data. Their job is purely strategic. They pick the projects, make sure they have funding, and most importantly, they clear away any roadblocks so the teams can do their work.
Just below them, you have the master black belts. Think of these folks as the Six Sigma senseis of the organization. They are full-time experts who coach, teach, and mentor all the other belts. They're the keepers of the Six Sigma flame, making sure it's being used correctly across the whole company. And now we get to the black belts. These are the full-time project leaders, the real change agents on the ground. They go through a ton of training. We're talking 160 hours, and their entire job is to lead these big, complex projects that solve the company's toughest, most expensive problems.
Next up are the green belts. Now, unlike black belts, this is not their full-time job. Green belts are employees who learn the Six Sigma principles and then apply them to smaller projects right inside their own departments, all while doing their normal day-to-day work. They get support and guidance from a black belt.
And then, at the base of the whole pyramid, you've got the yellow belts. This level represents a huge chunk of the workforce. They get basic training so they can be effective members of a project team. They're the eyes and ears on the ground, spotting issues and feeding that info up the chain to the green and black belts.
All right, let's zoom in on those two roles we hear about the most, the black belts and the green belts. Let's put them head to head to really see how they're different. And this table just lays it out perfectly. You've got black belts, who are full-time, highly trained strategists taking on huge company-wide problems. Then you've got green belts, who are part-time practitioners using the tools to fix things in their own backyard. One is a dedicated specialist, the other is an embedded expert.
This quote from the tech company Wipro is a perfect real-world example of how they work together.
You see, the projects are led by the green belts, the people who actually know the process inside and out, but they're assisted by the deep technical expertise of a black belt. It's a really powerful partnership.
Okay, so let's zoom back out one last time. Why does this all work? Why go through the trouble of creating this whole elaborate belt system? What makes having a structured team so darn effective?
The power of this system really boils down to 4 key things. First, the champions at the top make sure every project actually matters to the business. Second, it creates a common language so everyone is talking about problems the same way. Third, it forces everyone to use data, not just hunches. And finally, it builds this amazing self-sustaining culture where everyone is always looking for ways to get better.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. The principles here, having clearly defined roles, a shared way of talking, mentorship, strong leadership, these ideas are powerful everywhere. So forget the factory floor for a second and think about your own world. How could a system of clearly defined expert roles transform the way your team solves its most important problems?